All right, so continuing from our previous lesson where we imported BLK tokens and we had essentially given 18 zeros. And over here, you may have noticed that we got 0 BLK tokens. All right. Now, the important thing is to understand this decimal concept, which I'm going to explain you. So this is 0 BLK tokens. Let me now change the number of. Now you must be wondering, I've given such a high initial supply. Why am I not getting this? And this is the whole concept of DeFi. This is the whole concept of floating point numbers. And you need to understand. You need to take a few steps back and understand some theory around this before you understand what is happening in the real world. But before we get into this, I'm going to explain you one more thing. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to add a few zeros. So I'm going to make this token supply as initial token supply as 6 zeros, for example. And using the same injected MetaMask, using the same account, I am going to now, let's say, use this account and I will deploy this smart contract. So I'm going to hit transact now with 6 zeros. So I'll hit transact and it should open up MetaMask. It's asking me to confirm the transaction. So I'll confirm the transaction. And the transaction gets confirmed over here. So I've got the notification back in my Remix ID. Let's just quickly look at it in our MetaMask. So I'll go to account 1 from where I hit the transaction. So you can see over here the latest transaction on the top. This is the transaction I just did right now. I will click on the contract and I can obviously see this transaction on the Block Explorer. I can copy the transaction ID and everything else that comes with it. All right, so I'm going to use, so I can copy the contract address by going on the View Block Explorer. So I'll click on View Block Explorer. I will copy the contract address from there. I can also copy the contract address. Remember, I told you yesterday, all these transaction details are over here as well. So I've got the contract address back in my Remix ID as well. So if I just paste the contract address I just copied from the Explorer, you can see that it is pretty much DEE4, that's the last 4 digits, and the first 4 digits is pretty much the same contract address. So I'll remove this before it throws me an error. And now using this contract address, I'm going to import the tokens that I just deployed with 6 zeros again in MetaMask. So I'm going to go to MetaMask and this time I will go into account 1 and I will import these tokens over here. So I'm going to remove the ones. All right, so I already have a BLK over here. So let me go to account number 2. I think I have a BLK over here. So this was the one that I imported with 18 zeros. Let me quickly create another account because I want to explain this to you how it's working. So I will create a new account by simply click on add new account and I will just call it account 3 and I'll hit create. Now inside this account 3, I'll go to tokens. So I've got NFT, I've got activity of this account. So I will just hit tokens and I will say import tokens and I will paste the address of this newly created contract that I just deployed with an initial supply of 6 zeros. Now the moment I do that, you can see it's automatically picked up the BLK code and it's also interestingly picked up 18 decimals. Now, why is that? Again, this concept I will explain you in much detail in the next video. But for now, just remember what I'm trying to explain you. So now I click on next and I click on import. The moment I do that, it has imported the token successfully. And now let's click on this. You see, it's still showing me 0 BLK. Now, what is all this happening over here? I entered some initial supply. I'm getting some funny numbers over here. Am I making some mistake? What's going on, guys? These are all the questions that should be crossing your mind and quite valid questions. And the answer to all this is to understand the decimal concept. So with this background around DeFi, and how these tokens are calculated. Let's now jump on to our next lesson, and the next lesson is to basically understand how do we get this decimal concept right, so that we essentially know how many tokens do we give in our initial supply and how many tokens we will get in our MetaMask, and then we can obviously distribute the tokens from there. So this is a very important concept that I'm about to explain you in my next videos. Please make sure I have your full attention, and try to understand this, because it is very important for you to understand. Otherwise, you could end up with giving a very high initial supply, and you would see that either you have 0 tokens or you have 0.00001 tokens, and you must be wondering what's going on, why am I not getting that right number. So there is a math behind this, and that's what I'm going to explain to you in the next video.